how much love should there be in figuring out whether you're supposed to marry somebody? And can you really have love with someone if you have all kinds of conditions or needs that are, all about you? For example, like most people really just love people because of what they do for them. So that's beyond even conditional love. It's about love that's really all about themselves. These are interesting questions, and I'm going to tackle them with God's help. And what's funny about me just randomly talking about love is I was once listening to Jordan Peterson, and he was dealing with, I don't know if maybe someone sent in a question or someone asked a question about love, and he took his genius brain, which is what he often does, takes a problem, and then just throws his genius brain at the problem. And usually just you hear this poetry come out of him of how he solves the thing or explains it away or gets you so much clarity on whatever topic it could be. So it turned out that there was one very painful video of him talking about love. It goes on for about 45 minutes, and I couldn't breathe the whole time because he was getting absolutely nowhere the whole time, and I was shocked because just for various reasons. Because even though he's a big academic and he's very intellectual, he's also very heartfelt. And he's also very good at explaining human emotion, and he was a therapist. So I was sure that love would come somewhat easy to him in being able to explain it. But unfortunately, it didn't go so well. And I still have no conclusion of what to think about that. Like, I'm not sure what to even think about that. I don't know where to go with that, because I've never heard him discuss a topic that didn't become more and more fascinating as he spoke. But here he sweated, and you could see he was sweating the whole time. And that's as close as you can get. It could be you can even Google Jordan Peterson and love and get that same video and watch him flail around for 45 minutes, getting nowhere, like nothing came out of that. So love in the beginning of relationships. Love in the beginning of relationships is a bit of a sticky topic, because I think that it's to commit to somebody for your life who you have not yet developed love with them is like really hard to do. Like, how do you commit to somebody if you don't already have love? But how do you have love if you're not committed? You understand? Like, how do you really get to love without commitment? And let me explain, and this actually Jordan Peterson does talk about, is that marriage is the only place, I mean, there's other places, but it's the most, maybe one of the only places where you can go the deepest with somebody. You see, if I only know, like I just met this guy, for example, today. What's your name? Avi. So we're talking about love and marriage and how to find a wife. Avi. So I'm just meeting Avi, and I can't really love you too much, except for like on some like higher level, like you gotta love every Jew, and you know what? Gentiles should be commanded to love every Jew. So funny, only Jews are commanded to love every Jew. But Gentiles don't have that as one of their commandments, and we see they're not very excited about that one. Anyway, I could love you on that level, Avi, because, we have a commandment to love every Jew, so I love you, man. But, that's very Kirkland generic love, that's not the kind of love you'd be that interested in, it's totally plain rap, love. But if I got to know this guy, if I got to know him, love would develop. Because there's just, the more you get to know someone, the more love you feel for them. And for those of you who are lonely in your life, think about this simple math. Maybe you're lonely in life because you're not trusting people enough with your own inner world, meaning your own private life. You're not sharing much because you don't want to get burned. And then you complain you're not getting any love. But no one knows you. To know him is to love him. That's the famous line. To know him is to love him. And it's 100% true. How are you supposed to know somebody? If he's too busy protecting himself from being known so he doesn't get hurt. See, everyone's like super careful with how much they're willing to give of themselves so that someone shouldn't walk away with some of them. Like, meaning if they were betrayed, how much you're willing to have someone walk off with. And that's why marriage is so special, is because they can't walk away. I mean, there is such a thing as divorce, but divorce is, the disaster of all disasters. You're married to the person you divorced your whole life. You may not be legally bonded anymore, and you may not be spiritually bonded in the next world, but you're married. You never cut it off, especially with kids. And so because divorce, because the bond has only the biggest disaster as a consequence, so therefore most people aren't willing to go there, you finally have someone that you can actually put all your cards on the table. You have someone you can be totally transparent with. Because they can't leave. There's no leaving. And now that you finally have a relationship where someone can't leave, you finally have a chance to be seen fully. And if you're seen fully, you're loved fully. But I would argue that you shouldn't wait around. You shouldn't wait around. Shmuley, can you slide a little this way? I'm trying to look at you, but then I wind up like ducking under the camera. Oh, that was better. That was better. Where you were. I want you to, yeah. I would suggest actually sharing everything about yourself. Meaning if it's appropriate, obviously people run away if it's not appropriate, but in an appropriate situation, you should be sharing as much about yourself as possible with everyone. You know why? Who can answer why?
First of all, you open yourself up to love. Also, you strengthen who you are.
Okay, very good.
You accept yourself also.
Sure. And you got the first one. The main one is because then you're loved. Share everything about yourself, and let people love you. And I'm not talking about on Instagram or something like that. I'm talking about like the people. Obviously, if you're only seeing the guy because he's sitting next to you on a bus, don't be weird. Leave him alone. But if you keep seeing this guy in shul, or you keep seeing this guy around the community, around the neighborhood, well, talk to him and let out some info a little bit. Give him something to hold on to. And notice you feel loved. You stop feeling so lonely. Now, obviously, the reason we don't share is because we got badly burned as kids, because kids trust everybody, which is why we have to keep an eye on kids, because they'll just jump into someone's car. You got to keep an eye on those little guys. They trust everybody, and you were once the little kid who trusted everybody, and then you got burned. But the thing is you're using that short-term strategy of not trusting anymore, which you did as a kid. You started to learn how to keep everything to yourself. But you're using that as an adult. And if you were to share yourself fully as an adult with others, are they going to run away? If you share yourself, Avi, appropriately with everyone you meet, really share your meaning appropriately, but you share, are they going to run the other way?
50-50.
No.
Some will, but you don't want those people in your life.
I said appropriately. It wouldn't be appropriate to share yourself with someone like that. Appropriate sharing. What I mean by appropriately is they're an appropriate recipient of your sharing, meaning you see them once in a while. They're not just some random person.
And also that the information you're sharing is something that they can handle.
Sure. And you'll notice that if you share it carefully, they can handle more each time you meet.
Right. I mean, the first time you sit next to a guy, by breakfast, you don't say you did 15 to life and got out and kicked the salad.
Right.
No, it's not at all. I didn't tell you. I didn't share it. That would be appropriate.
Anyway, but are they going to run away if you share yourself? No, you know what they're going to do? They're going to run towards you. Why would they run towards you? Can anyone share, see if you can figure that out? You're an open book. There for what? Why would they run towards you?
They connect with you. That's what they want.
Close? Yeah.
They want a place that they could also be an open book.
Yeah, they want to share too. They got like heavy constipation on personal sharing. You understand? They're like really not giving out too much. If they're like most people who give out as little as possible. And so the fact that you shared said, this guy feels pretty safe with me. Well, if he's feeling safe with me, it must be I'm safe with him. And then the next thing you know, that guy gives you a little bit. And sooner or later, you're friends. And now you got a friend. And you can actually fill the world with friends this way. Now, when it comes to marriage, this can backfire. Because when you're dating to marry, you don't want to share too much. Yeah, you don't want to share too much. Because, less is appropriate and more is is not appropriate. And the reason being is that you need a level of mystery to marry somebody. So, meaning, let's just say, like, if this is the bar of all knowledge of a person, so this is what you know about the person, and this is all the mystery. You go on another date. Now this is the mystery. Go on another date. Now only that's the mystery. You go on another date. Now there's barely any mystery left. If not, no mystery. They move in together or something. There's like no mystery now. You know exactly how they smell, when they've overeaten. And they, I wasn't talking about body odor. So what happens is, it turns out that the commitment of marriage is way too big to make. The commitment of marriage is too big a commitment if there's a lot of liability involved. You understand? You need to remain, there has to be a level of fantasy left, because the mystery turns to fantasy when you're attracted. You understand? If you know this much, and then you go out again, you know that much, you're getting to know the person, but there's still plenty of mystery. That mystery converts to fantasy if you're attracted to that person, which is really interesting and dangerous. Because now the mystery, which might be a kind of mystery that if you found out what it was, you would never marry the person, but too late. That's just the gamble everyone's got to take. It's just a gamble you got to take. I mean, you can do a background check. Most women aren't like, ex-convicts and stuff. So the woman maybe should be doing a little bit of a background check on the guy, make sure he's not some weirdo on some, like list that the government holds or something. But you gotta have that level of mystery. Well, how are you supposed to do that? Well, you got the Hasidic world where it's 100% mystery. There's nothing known. So you could go for 100% mystery. That's a possibility. Exists. You could go with the yeshivish community where it's like 50% mystery, something like that. 50% mystery. Okay, that might be all right, the yeshivish way. Then you could go with so here's what I suggest people do. I suggest people should go out on 5 dates. 5 dates. 3 to get to know each other. So that's 1, 2, 3. You're getting to know the person. And then the 4th, you got to dump all the major issues. Like meaning if you're really, if you were adopted and your parents are actually crack addicts. Your parents live on a leper island, your actual parents. And, if you got something crazy going, or you're diabetic, and it's a bit of a liability, or you're like, I don't know. You suffered alcoholism for 10 years, been in and out of clinics for alcoholism or something like that. Meaning if you got a deal breaker like that, you got to dump the big deal breakers, only the deal breakers, on the 4th date. So I said something about myself on the 4th date. 2 things about me. One, I said, I don't know if you know this, but I have a concave sternum. See, my sternum goes in? So I told her, listen, I got a concave sternum. And she's like,
That's it, we're done.
I just wanted to be up front, I got a concave sternum. And she was like, okay, anything else? And I said, my thumb was smashed in a door when I was 9 years old on the first night of Hanukkah. when I was 9. No, those were my big deal breakers. And she didn't offer any deal breakers on her side. But so the fourth date's where you got to dump the real news about you, that stuff they're going to find out that might be deal breakers, because you cannot marry a person on false pretext. Okay, pretense. You can't marry a person like that. And even if you think it's a good idea, like to just avoid that topic till after the marriage, even though it's inevitable they're going to find out, even though you might think that's a good idea, it's not a good idea. Because and this is a deep, I'll share with you something very deep. Any beginning has to start with a bond of emes. All beginnings start with a bond of emes. For example, let's say someone makes a merger in companies, but one of the companies isn't saying the truth, which is going to come out later. You'll see that the merger fails later. It just fails later. Someone who didn't tell the truth about the soil that the construction site was on. It looks like regular dirt, but it turned out that a geologist did a reading on it and said, like, you're going to have to remove another 30 feet deep and fill it in with, some other kind of material. And they just leave that out, and now build a 30-story apartment building on that. So obviously that's no good. You guys want to know an amazing binyan-av? What's the how do you say binyan-av in English?
Foundational.
The foundational original archetype, I guess. It comes from the Jewish people leaving Egypt. Why do we eat bread? Why do we eat matzah, which is just flour and water, and no other ingredients? Nothing else, no yeast, obviously, but no other ingredients. And the reason is because this was the foundation of our marriage to God. The Jewish people marry God. Like our original foundation is the Exodus. And so we have to eat flour and water matzahs with no other ingredients whatsoever. Meaning no talking up the chosin or the kala. No talking up, like no fluffing up the deal. No embellishment, no hot air. And so that we see the covenant of God in Israel is like, it's amazing, it's permanent. You can go to giant museums in England and other countries where they have like the Egypt exhibit, because the Egyptians came and went, and there's a Greek exhibit because they came and went, and the Roman exhibits, and they came and went. It's like whole wings of buildings. You know why they don't have a wing for Israel? Why is there no wing? What's up? Sit close to Greg on this chair or something. So why do you think there's no wing in any of these buildings for the most glorious history of all? Like our history, the history of Israel should be like, it should definitely deserve its own wing. So why don't they have its own wing? In these giant museums that go through like civilizations and stuff. Yeah, because it's not over. Where does the wing end? It ends at times in the Messianic era, I guess, in Mashiach times. There's no wing for Israel's history that you could put, because every other civilization came and went. And ours is like this ongoing saga that the whole world is still in the front row, watching on their screens every day for all of human history. It's the funniest thing, and it's amazing that people are so asleep to it that they actually get caught up in the trees and don't see the forest, that there's something very special going on with this nation called Israel. But anyway, back to us, is that there has to be truth. So that's the fourth date. The fourth date is where you drop the bomb on the girl. And the girl has to drop the bomb on the guy that her father is actually, lives in Vegas with a woman named Peach Melba. And the fifth date is when you close the deal. Fifth date is when you close the deal. So meaning if you take on to have only 5 dates, then you'll have enough mystery, which converted to fantasy, to actually make yourself go temporarily insane and ask someone to marry you. Then you'll go temporarily insane and ask someone to marry you. But you go into a 6th date, your chance of marrying that person have just dropped like 45%. Like you're way over the mystery fantasy principle. You get that?
It's not like you stop dating in engagement phase, or you need to get married.
Oh, once you get engaged, then you don't you don't see each other until the wedding. I don't mean that literally. You can see each other, but it will be at your own peril that you see her. Let me tell you why. You see, remember the mystery fantasy stage? Well, there's another thing, another principle, is that when you're wondering if someone's the girl for you, if a man's wondering whether this is the girl, so the whole time he's wondering, while he's wondering that, so again, the background is this the one? Is this the one? Is this the one? And of course, he's like crazy about her. So what happens is every little thing she does is magic. Everything she does just turns you on. Everything she does is the cutest thing you've ever seen in your life. The second you get engaged, it flips. Because there's a new background. When you go home from your engagement, and you're laying in your bed after all the l'chaims and everything, and the party and everything, you lay on your back staring up at your ceiling, all of a sudden you hear this voice that is the most horrible voice you've ever heard before. And those who are married in this room know exactly what I'm talking about. And the words are, you just made the biggest mistake you have ever made in your entire life. And he's denying it, I think, but he's laughing away over there. You go to bed that night just going like, what have I done? What have I done? And then your brain's now playing games with like all the other girls you were thinking about maybe marrying, and it's like, it's really nuts. So you get this voice saying you just made the worst mistake of your entire life. Now guess what? That voice gets louder and louder until the wedding day. Louder and louder, which means every little thing she does that you used to think are cute, every little thing she does is exactly why you made a mistake. You understand? The things that were once cute are now like getting on your nerves. Like her giggle is now suddenly like a hyena or something, with like gnashing teeth or something. She gets a little upset because you forgot to like call her Erev Shabbos, and you're just like, whoa. I wonder what's it going to be like, when I forget to bring her flowers, like.
Does it get better?
Right. And well, yeah. So
You're engaged?
he's married. So listen, what happens next? When you finally get married, when you're finally married, guess what? The voice that you just made the biggest mistake of your life gets quieter and quieter over the next 50 years. How long are you married?
I'm not married,
I thought you said you're married. Are you the one married?
but
You engaged?
I have a girlfriend.
Oh, you should have heard this class. You're gonna have to go on YouTube to hear this class.
You're on your third date?
He's doing everything wrong. How many?
Only on his 3rd date.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
2 more dates. Go.
I did 6 dates.
So
Right.
I go by
6?
days.
I gotta get the
The
6th
dates
one
for me
there
are
was
like-
like,
is like
it was
God's time.
redundant. We both
3
had
months
that.
is 1 day.
Cool. You didn't need that 6th date.
Didn't need it, but it was good because I realized that it was redundant.
Yeah, I kind of make my girls go out on a 6th date. A 6th date, sorry. My kids are Hasidish. I make them go out more than once because I just want them to have that sense that they chose, So I'll have them go out as many times they want, but it's usually like 2 or 3 times. I have not yet I've married off 3 of my daughters of the 5, and I've yet to have one not marry the guy I picked out. So, which is, in my opinion, not to brag, but is a great testimony to a good relationship with your daughters. Meaning that's the level of trust that's involved over there. You get what I'm saying? You got to have a really good relationship with your daughters. Make it a lot easier to help them get married.
My father-in-law picked me out.
Your father-in-law picked you out?
We used to learn with Haruta.
Oh, cool.
And they said you should marry my daughter.
He said you should marry. Oh, wow, what a compliment. What a compliment. Anyway, how could my phone be ringing in the middle of a recording? It's still recording?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Put it on Do Not Disturb. So that voice gets quieter and quieter for the next 50 years, which, if you're a female watching this, and you're going to want to kill me for this, but you can't stop taking good care of yourself at any point. You know, there's no time where a woman can let her hair down and just say, I'm already married, so like, you know, let's just go for the bucket of ice cream, you know. They can't let their guard down. And to the point where my wife, now we're married 30 years, she still gets dressed up when I come home. You understand? She'll, like, if she's in work clothes and stuff, just working in the kitchen or whatever, or she's doing yoga and she's in her yoga clothes or something, she'll still get, like, she knows I'm coming home, she goes and puts on nice clothes and stuff. And we're married 30 years. It's like, she doesn't have to do that, but she's wise. She's wise, you understand? And she takes great care of herself. And that's, and women have to understand that's a necessity to take great care of themselves after the marriage.
What do you do with that voice now?
What do you do with it? Well, thank God I'm married 30 years, so it's like so quiet. It almost doesn't exist. And I'm using the other work, which is the most important work in marriage, is to be on purpose. To figure out what your purpose in life is and live it. I'm sorry, I'm giggling. Why does he get to be like that and they don't lock him up? And if any of us would try that, we would be immediately incarcerated. Seriously. Oh yeah, he is on purpose. Oh my God. I didn't mean to laugh in the middle. You're on my lapel mic, so you can't hear the screaming next door. That only we in this room know what's going on next door. I would be if I didn't know what was going on with that, I'd be calling the police. Right?
When you drifted down to like 30 years down the line, marriage, as opposed to
Is that Birkas Kohani? 2:15 in the afternoon in winter. It's almost Shkia. So anyway, this has got to be the most liberal yeshiva I've ever been to in my life. Anyway, but it should have the word yeshiva in quotes, maybe.
They used to make this, you have a special wing. It wouldn't allow you to split. Special wing. When you get out a little later.
Yeshiva's based. So there's some good looks like there's some good strong learning going on here in the morning in here. Looks like these guys are doing some good learning.
right here we're doing good learning.
What's that?
Right here we're doing good learning.
Yeah, here we're doing. So what I want to say, we're on marriage, we're on the voice. Oh, and the other thing, I'll just give it a little token because we spoke about it 2 days ago, is not on video, was living on purpose. That when a man is living on purpose, so then his woman trusts him. And you want to hear something I didn't say is, if a man comes home to help his wife when he was in the middle of living his purpose, she loses all trust of him. If a man comes home to help his wife in the middle. I mean, obviously, if it's
Well, it's his purpose.
he's in the middle living his purpose. He's out there doing his purpose, and he's on purpose. But then he's like a millennial, and like, oh, I should go help my wife. And he's playing the full Mr. Nice Guy, go home, help his wife. She loses all trust in him. He's not trustworthy anymore. Because what do I mean by trustworthy? A woman needs to trust her man that he's on some greater mission. And that she needs to trust he's on that. If he's on that, so then what happens is she surrenders to his love. And once you're on purpose, all you got to do is come home with love. You just come home with love. Normally a man's coming home with the bagels with the dough. But you just come home with love. And she sees my man's on purpose, and he's unstoppable, he's undistractable. And something else is to live on purpose. I didn't mention this either. To live on purpose means you're always pushing the edge. You got to push into the. We've spoken a bit about order and chaos, right? We spoke about. Well, he speaks about a lot, but in Judaism, it's called Chesed and Gvura. Chesed's chaos, and order is Gvura. But for any of us to grow, we always have to be pushing the boundary. If you want to live a powerful, deeply meaningful life, live on the edge of order and chaos. But if you want to really be causing deep masculine vibration in your life, always push a little bit beyond order, beyond the comfort. Go a little further than the comfort zone. Go deeper into that. Don't go too far, because then you'll have an anxiety attack. You won't be able to breathe. Don't go too far, but go a little bit in there and keep pushing that. And there's something else that's crazy that I'm going to talk about for a minute, and that is to risk everything. Risk everything in your development of yourself. Like to the point of death. Meaning most people have so much fear that there's very little they're willing to be courageous about. Because it's, you stick your finger out a little bit, it's just going to get burned. So you're like, I'm afraid, I'm not going there. I'm not saying to go put yourself in danger or almost die or something, but you should, especially you guys are young, and I'm sure a lot of people watching this are young, but I don't care how old you are. Put yourself in harm's way. Put yourself in harm's way. Go hiking with a friend that's way too far. You should bring enough water, I suppose, but put yourself in harm's way. Like I'm at an age where I should be more careful. And I went on a very long mountain bike ride the other day, off road. Next I'm like throwing up in a bucket, So
One day, that's all you did yesterday.
I just heard a beautiful quote when we were talking about right now. It says, "Don't be pushed by the fears in your mind. Be led by the dreams in your heart."
Don't be pushed by I would maybe say don't be stopped by the fears in your mind, and rather be led by the dreams in your heart. I just heard a nice one yesterday. Someone quoted, I think it's the new Lion King. Lion King was a great movie. That it was, if you want to get somewhere quick, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Which is nice.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How do you make your wife, how do you tell her to take care of herself? Not saying you specifically.
By her seeing you take amazing care of yourself.
So you don't
Meaning
tell her-
every time she sees you're leaner and stronger, and she just sees you choosing healthy foods, and she's when you go out to eat, you're ordering the salad, and she sees like this guy is a guy who treats himself like he's someone worth caring for. To quote a chapter of Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules, but she sees a guy who treats himself as if he's someone worth caring for. So it's just going to rub off on her. And like she's going to be a slob while she's married to this like well-developed man. Not going to happen. She's going to pick it up.
So you don't say anything, you just actions?
You don't say anything, but you do compliment her on the little stuff she does. So let's say she's really more on the slob side. And she's more on the slob side, and you're like not at all, and you're really playing your games well, and you're doing things right, and she's a little bit slobby. But one day she like picks it up a bit and goes to a yoga class. You praise her to the end of the world about her having gone to yoga. And she's going to see like, whoa, like that meant a lot to him. Way more than anything else I've done for him was that yoga class. So that's what you do. You praise the little moves they make. And it just like, they start to realize like these little moves are scoring big. The little moves are scoring big, and the big things I thought I was doing for him, like cooking for him, or, it wasn't scoring half as big as me taking care of myself. Sorry, I didn't repeat the question. It was just how to get a woman to take care of herself. The next is, what was that? I was on this long mountain bike ride, and I'm deep out there, like way out there, and I'm climbing a giant mountain when it was a freezing day. So I finally got to the point where I need a little schluck of water, schluck's Hebrew for a sip of water. So I need some water. I reach over to grab my water tube from my water pack. I forgot my water pack, which has only happened like never. Like when do I forget my water pack? That's like forgetting your brain. You don't go mountain biking. I'm doing a very big ride with no water. So do you guys think I turned around and went back home? No, we're continuing this ride. And when I got to the top of the mountain, I was planning on going straight down this downhill run on that mountain, but I actually went onto this ridge to look for a human being who might have some water. And I found these off-road guys with their big, crazy looking thing that they had, some crazy off-road contraption. I said, you guys got any extra water? And he says, yeah, in the back of my car, I got a 6-pack of half liters. And I'm like, how many can I take? And he said, whatever you need, just take. And so I downed one. I took 2 more.
Whole freaking bottle right there.
Oh, you know what it was? He thought it was half liters. It was schliches. It was 330s. 330s. So I downed to 330. I took 2, and I continued my ride. But I always choose a little bit more danger every time. My system's set up to push it beyond. Take it a little more on the risk factor. Go a little more chaos. But I don't know if you can hear my voice, but it's developed into, you understand that, do you get that the sound of my voice, like just the vocal quality I have is from that? Do you get that? I'm saying a very subtle thing.
You don't smoke?
I don't smoke, no. Definitely do not smoke. But do you get that the tone of my voice is a result of me always pushing those limits? Wherever the fear factor is, wherever the danger is where I go towards. And what that does is it makes you, what it does for you, if you could just start doing that, is it makes you someone extremely dependable, extremely trustworthy. People just feel like you're someone who says it and does it. Like there's not too much is going to get in the way of you fulfilling a commitment. Because you're just, when things get rough and scary, you go forward. Whereas so many people that we're relying on who say, I wasn't able to get it done. Those are the guys who are often making U-turns when things get scary. And so all of this translates into masculine vibration that woman, meaning your wife, can trust. And you can push yourself in all kinds of ways. Are you connected at all, Shmuley, to Breslev?
Yeah.
So like flying to Ukraine is a rough move. It's never easy. And there's something about that. Like a woman, no breasted woman wants to lose her husband for a week or two. Yet they'll all give him up. And he's going into the total unknown. The one thing you know when you go there is there's going to be a lot of unknowns.
Yeah.
And
it's never even slightly easy.
it's never easy, not even slightly easy. And people are going now Hanukkah. I have 2 daughters going on separate trips to Uman for Hanukkah.
There's people that go without knowing how they're going to get back.
People go, they don't know how to get back. It's a middle.
Go to the airport without tickets.
Fine. I was
Go to the airport.
hostage one time, okay?
At the airport for a ticket.
Airport
We
without
kidnapped one time there.
tickets. And right now it's like butt cold over there. You know, you just any skin showing to the air is going to freeze, you know. And anyway, it just is so necessary for us. I'd like to compare this to animals for a second. Animals don't have the luxuries that we have to pamper ourselves from the elements. Animals are dealing with, you know, they're dealing with everything. You know, anything can happen to animals, which is very interesting that they all can swim. You know, a cat hates water, but if you throw it in a pool, it will swim its way out. You know, like they're just built tough like that, and they're dependably instinctual. They know their limits, they know their edges, they can do crazy things. And so can you if you're just willing to push those edges. And you can become that kind of resilient, trustworthy powerhouse like that. So I just want to finish with the living on purpose, is that when you're living on purpose, a woman will actually ask you to do something for her sometimes, interrupting your mission. And all she wants to hear is no. She just wants to hear you say no. She's not sure she trusts you so much. So she asks you for something while you're in full mission mode. And what you don't say straight out no, but what you say is like, you know what, send me a WhatsApp about it tomorrow and I'll get it done. That's what she wants to hear. But if you say yes, she's like, that's not what I wanted. And that guy will get home that night. That guy will get home that night and find her crazy. Like she's not surrendered. He'll find her unsurrendered to his love.
You mean no or no for now?
It could be no for now. Yeah, there's a lot of ways of saying no. But the answer is no. The answer is just simply no. And
Because there was a flip side to it when you said, when she's on purpose and she asks to reheat the boiling soup, even though it's still hot, you say, when you wanted to say no, you want to say yes.
with her, when she's asking if she can do something for you, the answer is always yes, please. If you could just do this. Anytime a woman's asking if she can do something for you, she's saying that I'm so surrendered to you right now, and I want to just live. I want to see how far I can take this surrender. And so when she says, can I do this? And it's a real hassle thing that she's asking. And a man says, no, don't bother. She's so disappointed because that was her chance to serve you in total surrendered love. And that's what she was looking for. And to tell her, don't bother, or I'll do it myself, is like ruining this gorgeous opportunity that she's created in the relationship. Anyway, we spoke about a million things, a lot around relationships and stuff. This was kind of a random class. I'm reluctant to post it, but I'll probably post it anyway just because people get angry if I don't post. I didn't sneeze, I blew my nose. I blew my nose on video, that's right. Shalom, everybody. Shakoyach. Hit all those buttons,